Hello and welcome to the My Amazon Guy Friday Q&A podcast. Feel free to ask any questions right now in the chat and we will get to them. My name is Noah Wickham. I'm brand director here at My Amazon Guy. I am here every single Friday to answer any and all questions that you may have. So if you are an Amazon seller and you're looking to find out more, feel free to throw a question in the chat now and we'll get to it as we come up to it. So starting out, for us today, we have Eternal. I want to calculate market share for my products. How can I do so? So this is actually a really, really good question. There's a few different ways you can do it. So the first way, and let me pull up my screen here. This is a great first question to start us off. But the very first way that I would look at doing would be specifically for helium. So let me pull that up. Here we go. There we go. All right. So once we are in Helium 10, the easiest way to do this is twofold. You can either track via your competitors or you can track via your keywords. Both of those are going to show you specific marketplace data for your products versus others. So what I would probably utilize here are twofold. The keyword tracker. So you're going to track the product rank for your keyword and see if your top keywords are gaining or losing ranking. That's going to give you a general sense of the overall market share that you have for specific keywords. And then secondly would be your market tracker. So the market tracker is going to be a great tool for actually seeing where your competitors are in the market as well. So this will give you an idea of how many sales they're doing, how many sales you're doing, what the overall market for your category and your product type looks like, and allows you to get really niche into what you're actually doing for those. So that's first and foremost where I would look. Past that as well, another area that you should be looking into is Amazon search query performance. And Amazon also has the market tracker as well. So you can search both of those for product category and just overall seeing where you stand as far as your competitors. I would utilize Amazon's tools as well, but I love Helium's tools and definitely check those out. Great first question of the day. Harris coming in. Great to see you. I'm doing well today. I'm doing well. Hope yours well. Harris, I have 2 Amazon accounts with different listings, but I'm worried about potential listing suppression or account deactivation in the future. If I do Me Too listings on both accounts, does it violate Amazon policy? What are the best practices for handling this, and what potential problems could I encounter? So if you have different listings on different accounts, they're completely separate products, that is totally fine. Amazon changed policy a while back to allow it so that you can have more than one Amazon account as long as you are in different categories and as long as you tell them. So should have no issues there. When it comes to if they will link accounts and take them both down due to suppressions, that's a little different. Typically speaking, I would say the answer is no. They should not do that just based on their own policy. Do I see it happen? Kind of, not really. So what I would suggest here is if you have a suppression on one account, definitely make sure to try and lock down the other. Make sure you don't have any issues on that other account. They're the exact same. But overall, if you have 2 accounts with 2 separate products, 2 separate categories, everything, you should be totally fine there, Harris. There shouldn't be any issues with that whatsoever. All right, let's see. When I create a list to Amazon, my brand name is not showing in the title on live page. Yep. My brand name is registered to the USPTO, together also showing full name with slogan in the Amazon brand registry. I used my brand name excluding slogan when I created the 4,000 listings. Is there anything I should worry about? No. So this is a very common thing that we are starting to see with listings across the board on Amazon. Amazon is starting to take away the ability for brand name. It can show up in a few different places. So if you actually go to Amazon, you'll see at times where the brand name will show up near the top. It'll show up as a little black brand name instead of actually being in the title. So what I would typically suggest when that is happening is you can always submit a case to Amazon, try and get updated, make sure that on the back end, you're updating with full flat file for the brand name. But unfortunately, it's one of those changes that Amazon's trying to make where they're not wanting brand names to actually be in titles for some reason in specific categories. So it is, thankfully, typically so far category specific, not across the board. But that is just something you're going to have to deal with, unfortunately, moving forward. Viper is up next. I have a product that has 3 colors and 12 zodiac constellations, making 36 variations. What is the best way to run PPC ads for one zodiac sign each? Should I put multiple product images in the main? Sorry for the loaded question. No worries, is not a loaded question. I actually love PPC questions like this. So here is a basic rough PPC strategy for when you have a ton of different variations and you can only spread your budget out so much. First and foremost, you should always have what I would consider to be hero products. So you may have 36 variations, but of those 36 variations, you probably have 3, 4, 5 different products that make up the majority of your sales. So what is the 20% of your products that make up the 80% of your sales? That's just generally how the 80-20 rule works there. Those are the ones that I would focus on when it comes to the advertising side. Those are the ones that are going to push as much as possible. Now, past that as well, that doesn't mean you shouldn't advertise on all of your products. What you can do is set up single campaigns for all of your products. And this is going to give you a good understanding of what people are purchasing. So, for instance, I believe there are more people born in October, November than any other months, right? So, if you're looking at that standpoint, you should be able to very easily say, okay, more than likely, I have a larger target audience there. So those are going to be the ones that you want to work on. Roughly speaking, you could also look at changing how you do the variations and changing how you do the parentages. So you could create different parentages specifically for each one of those different constellations, and then just have the 3 colors under the constellation, and then run ads just against the parentage. So those are kind of the rough basic ideas of how you should separate this, but it all depends on what your budget is at the end of the day when it comes to advertising. If you have the budget to run ads on every single product, you absolutely should. But no matter what, you're always going to have a couple of products that usually stand out, and those are the ones that you should focus heavily on for the advertising. Great question. Love the PPC ones. Those are always interesting ones to be able to answer and kind of assist with. Harris Beck, I just want to know a few ways that can allow me to be on the safe side as building listing and getting reviews are difficult. Yeah, so being on the safe side with it, always just check your keywords, right? So make sure that you aren't using any keywords that are going to get you suppressed for any reason. Make sure you're not having any high pricing errors, right? Again, with your images, make sure you're following all of Amazon guidelines on both of the listings at all times. The reality being that if you do get suppressed on one, it's unlikely you will get suppressed on the other because it's separate accounts, separate listings, unless for some reason they are tied together in some way, which they shouldn't be. So I really wouldn't worry about it as long as you are following Amazon guidelines. You're not doing anything sketchy, like, claiming a product does X when it definitely doesn't, so on and so forth, Harris. Awesome questions. One second, guys. Gotta get a little coffee in me today. It is a coffee over tea kind of day. No, sir. My Amazon inventory level has exceeded. Can you suggest a solution? Amazon is suggesting send my inventory to their AWD program, but I'm not familiar with it. Can you provide guidance? Yeah. So Amazon AWD is Amazon Warehouse Distribution. Essentially, it's Amazon's version of a 3PL. So it's a few things are going to be different with it. One, you don't have a placement fee with it, which is really nice now that we have the whole placement fee situation going on. And so they're pushing a lot more people to that warehouse. I would say it's actually pretty nice to have that. And if you do have excess inventory, if you don't have your own warehouse, you don't have a 3PL, yeah, throw excess inventory into AWD is where I would probably push it to. As far as having the inventory level exceeded, what I would do there is definitely submit a case to Amazon to try and get that updated and get more space in there. They're probably going to want you to purchase that space. I would not do that because you have to bid on it and it is very, very expensive usually. So absolutely just throw the excess inventory that you have into AWD if you have nowhere else to put it. And then as you need it, you can just push it over to FBA very, very easily with not much added fees. Just general question. What is AWS and AWD. So AWS is completely separate from normal Amazon. AWS is like software, web pages, things like that. AWD, on the other hand, I just kind of explained. Again, just 3PL, Harris. It's essentially Amazon's version of it. They bought a bunch of warehouses in the past, ended up not using them. Now they're trying to use them as 3PLs. So very simple. You can have the inventory go to FBA. You can have it just sit there. It is just the same type of fee as if you had it in FBA, but you don't have any account health issues or anything tied to having inventory in AWD. Eternal. I am marketplace performance analyst and want to track the seller rank. How can I do so? You can do so. Same thing as we talked about earlier. Eternal. You can do that using Helium. You can also just track using Amazon's own platform. Very easy thing that you could have as well. Keepa is another one where I would just get the Chrome extension for Keepa, and you can very easily go there and track exactly where the BSR for products is. So if you're tracking any rank, use Keepa, use Helium. You can add market trackers on there for each product. It'll let you know on a regular basis through the reporting where the BSR is sitting, whether it's going up, whether it's going down. So all of those are very easy and fine ways to get that data. Jacob, how do you advertise huge portfolios of products? Let's say an account with over 1,000 SKUs in different product niches. Okay. So first and foremost, when you are advertising that many different products, you're never going to be able to hit every single product. And secondly, usually accounts that have that many products are not branded, so they don't have brand registry. If they do have brand registry, it's an entire different matter, but we're going to assume you're talking about like resellers, things like that. The best way to advertise there is going to be a few different areas. So you're going to want to do first, an auto campaign. So add as many products as possible to an auto catch-all campaign and add a budget that makes sense for you. An auto campaign is going to be the easiest, most straightforward strategy for hitting on every single product that you possibly can. It's going to get really, really bloated. It's probably going to spend a lot of money, but at the end of the day, it's also probably going to make you a lot of money because there is no way you can ever really manage without just an in-house team of, 40 different people to manage all of that product. It's just not going to happen. So definitely auto campaigns first and foremost. And then secondly, figure out where your top targets are. So similar to what I was saying earlier on those type of campaigns, figure out, okay, do you have essentially, typically when I see accounts with that many products, you're going to have 50 different products that are doing the majority of the heavy lifting. They are doing 80 to 90% of all of your sales on the account, even if you have over 1,000 products. So if that is the case, which normally it is for those kind of accounts, target those 50 products. Figure out what is doing your most amount of heavy lifting when it comes to the sales and only work on those products when it comes to your advertising. And then everything else, throw it through an auto campaign and go from there. Let's see. The Sheet Metal Kid. I like that name. Buy box eligibility was lost for high order defect rate. Things are looking better. How often are the featured offer eligibility reviewed? It's going to be reviewed along with your order defect rate. So once you kind of lose it, you have to work to keep every single metric that you can in line. So that means order defect rate, pre-shipment cancellation rate, late order rate, any of those, right? So, or late shipment rate, sorry. All of those are going to be things you need to make sure you keep extremely closely in line. If you look at the bottom, all of them, for the most part, are calculated on a 30 to 90-day window. So that's what you have to keep within. So you're going to be, with the order defect rate, constantly calculate on that. So once you get past some of those dates where, for instance, you had an order defect of some kind, it'll drop off after 90 days, and then your order defect rate will start to go down. So unfortunately, when it comes to featured offer, that's usually going to be the best thing. Once you actually have all of the areas that are causing the featured offer to be lost solved, it'll usually turn around within a couple of days from that aspect. Great question, say guys. Keep throwing them in. I am loving this. How do you perfect PPC and PPC strategies? Practice. 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 I mean, that's all it is for anything. How do you perfect any type of thing? It's always practice. It's always seeing what works. You need to learn a lot. This is a great channel. MyAmazonGuide.com is a great resource. So we have a ton of different articles there. Go to our YouTube channel, My Amazon Guy. We have 1 million PPC videos. Follow on LinkedIn as many people who discuss and talk about PPC as possible. There's a ton of them out there. Elizabeth Green from Jungler is a great example, for instance. Just follow people who talk about PPC, learn every strategy that you possibly can, and practice. And the only way to practice is to do it. There's never going to be a time where it just like clicks, because there are always going to be new things with Amazon PPC. I put out probably at least 2 posts a week talking about just different areas of Amazon PPC being updated. I mean, most recently, sponsored display. I had the ability for negative keyword targeting. That's awesome. That's something we have never seen before. Nothing we've been able to do. We've only really been able to handle that with sponsored products. Cool. Now we have an entire new area that we can update with, Amazon PPC. So it's always about practice. You're never going to be perfect, but you can always be better, if that's the best way probably to handle that. Jamie, let's see here. Morning. Do you recommend send to FBA using a 3PL or send by myself? Renting a truck. Thanks, bro. I'm importing 1 full container. You can do this a few ways. If you are planning on labeling, then you can either have a 3PL label it for you, or you can have Amazon label it for you. Check prices. That's really going to be your best bet, because Amazon is expensive for labeling and 3PLs are also expensive for labeling. If you're not having to label the product, have it sent directly to Amazon. If there's no reason or any for you to use a 3PL, don't do it. At the end of the day, we talked about AWD 20 minutes ago or so, not even 10 minutes ago. And that's going to be one of those areas where you can look at AWD if you can't throw in a full container at once to FBA. But absolutely look at all of the pricing for everything. There's no right, wrong way necessarily to do this. Just what makes sense from a profitability standpoint. Great question, though. Okay, let's see. Harris, where can I access this AWD service in Seller Central? All right, let me pull this up. So I believe you can go down to, here it is. So let me share my screen real quick. This tab. There we go. So come over to the menu, go to your inventory, and down at the bottom here, you should have store and distribute. This is going to bring up a area for Amazon warehousing and distribution. So once you're in this area, you can manage your services. So you can create a shipment for it. You can view current inventory, move the inventory. So if you need it in a specific warehouse or a specific place, or in FBA, for instance, do that. Then track all your replenishments. So very simple to get there. If you don't have access to this, you can just put a ticket through to seller support to get access. They absolutely want everyone using this, so it should be there for most all sellers. But just check it again. Inventory, store and distribute. It'll bring you to this page right here for AWD. Eternal. Okay, I can see them in Helium or some other extension, but I want to keep a record of that in databases for market share and seller rank also. Yeah, same thing, Eternal. You can just do that in Helium. So you can create a market report in Helium, and you can always export that market report. So if you're looking to have that in some form of database, use Helium. So it will keep a history log of that market share that you're looking for. And then on top of that, you can export it into an Excel. So that's what you're looking for. That's going to be your easiest route to do it. Keepa, technically, you can get historical data as well, but you'd have to export it on a regular basis yourself. But Helium will just keep that entire history for itself. Brian, morning. When I set up new product keyword campaigns, sometimes even though the bid is high, it gets no impressions. What should I do to get it working? So if you're not getting any impressions, that is usually a sign that you don't have your targeting correct. So I see it all the time where people don't have their ad actually set up entirely. So what you essentially have going on is you've set up the ad, but you're not actually targeting or hitting anything. So even when you should always, absolutely, doesn't matter how high the bid is, if you don't have your ad set up so that it's actually targeting, there's nothing that it's going to hit on. So more than likely, you don't have your ad actually targeting or attached to the correct area. That's what I would probably check on first. Also, make sure that you have it attached to the correct product. I see it all the time. People accidentally put it on, for instance, like an FBM product that has zero inventory versus their FBA ASIN. The ad's not going to run or even spend at that point. If you are getting an issue where, for instance, you don't have, or you're getting just tiny amount of impressions, and that's your problem, and just no clicks or anything, you probably aren't targeting high enough or bidding high enough for what you're looking at. Look at updating your top of search placement. See if you can add that in there. Update the search terms on there as well. That's a really, really big thing that I see people forget to do all the time. They don't add any search terms, and then they're just expecting, a single keyword to do all the heavy lifting for them in some form of exact campaign. So that's where I would probably check first and foremost. Same goes for display and product targeting campaigns. Yep, same exact thing. Same exact thing. You probably just are not, if that's the case, you're probably not attaching that targeting to the correct product. So again, just make sure you are actually targeting something and you have your search terms all set up. Let's see here. Oh, Jacob again. At MAG, are you looking for Amazon PPC account managers specialized in European marketplace like Germany? If yes, how can someone apply? Great question. So first and foremost, are we looking specifically for that? Yes, no. Let me open this up. So if you're ever wondering what jobs we have here at My Amazon Guy, you can come to our website. You can go to careers and you can look through everything. So for instance, PPC, we are constantly looking for people to do PPC. We don't have people doing specifically PPC, just account management. We do PPC within our pod system here at My Amazon Guy. So you would be a PPC specialist who works on more than just European markets. You would work on, US markets. You would work on everything in between, right? So definitely something we're always looking for, though. It's one of our most sought after roles. If you have no experience whatsoever, even, we have an internship program, but always go to the applying here. If you scroll down, you can see all the job openings we have for US and international. So you can see right here, advertising auditor. We're hiring right now. We're hiring an intern. We're hiring an advertising manager, advertising specialist. We have a million advertising roles. So absolutely, Jacob, if you have experience or no experience whatsoever, or anyone who's watching, go to myamazonguy.com/jobs and apply. We're more than happy to have you. And, if you don't hear from anyone right away, feel free to reach out, to me on LinkedIn. More than happy to push forward a referral or talk to you or anything. Let's see. Perfect PPC strategy again. Okay. Please help me question. What was your question, Jamie? Oh, I already answered that one. Let's see. I have a product with over 700 reviews, 4.7 star rating. Great. That's awesome. But the bar is in the 400K range. I'm planning on doing a revision of the product. Should I resist it as new product or on the old one? Oh, relist it, I'm guessing. You can do either. The best strategy here, especially, I'm assuming, the bar being in the 400K range, I'm assuming you mean from a review standpoint. So what I would typically say is, if you're going to be doing any revisions to the product, relaunch it as a new product, essentially a 2.0. Add that new product in as a variation to kind of get, or non-variation to get more of that reviews on the honeymoon period, and then parent those products together so that you can have all those reviews merged. So if any revisions happen to a product, it's always going to be easier to create a new listing. And then from there, you can just kind of coast off the success of the previous listing and the success of the new one during the honeymoon period. So that's probably the best way to go. Relisting, not really the best idea if you're going to keep around the 1.0 version for at least a little while. Jacob again. Let's see. What is your way to combine SQP data with PPC data and organic ranking positions in order to make the right conclusions for your marketing strategy? So I typically will look at our SQP data, so search query performance for those who are wondering there. So always look at that data with essentially trying to figure out where the market is heading on your keywords. So it's a really, really good report for actually figuring out what people are looking for on Amazon and understanding the overall market, whether it's, competitors, how you're currently ranking with those, what it actually means for you. So it's really, really good in those aspects for looking at your category and looking at what keywords you should be targeting. Combining that into PPC and my, organic ranking, I'm going to definitely use those when it comes to SEO. So you should always know what your top keywords in your category are. You should always be tracking them. If they're not on your listings, then that's a problem. You need to add them in. For PPC, you should also be utilizing it to actually see where you should be advertising against. So if you're not advertising against, for instance, if you sell balloons and you're not advertising against the keyword balloons, I don't know what you're doing. The point I'm trying to make there is essentially always be looking at your top keywords, look at the market performance of them, add them into your products for SEO, and then definitely utilize advertising data and just PPC in general to push those top keywords so you can more organically rank for them. Jamie, labels. Okay, yep. So absolutely, just push it at that. If you have to do labeling, push it to 3PL or AWD. Have them do it. It'll be cheaper than just doing it straight to FBA. If you don't, again, skip FBA. Thank you for your time. No problem. Jacob again. Do you use Amazon Marketing Cloud? And if yes, how? No. Very simple, quick answer there. Ali, good to see you, sir. I am doing well. Thank you for joining always. Love to see you here. Can AI integrated in Amazon? So I don't know exactly what this question is asking. Guessing it's asking if Amazon has AI integrations, which I mean, it technically does. There's some cool ones that have actually been coming out recently. So for instance, one of them, I'll just share my screen here in a second, would be, let's see. You can do, for instance, like Amazon's new listing where they have, here it is. We can generate listing content. This one. So they have this one where they have a new AI early access for generating your title, description, bullet points. So it will AI generate based on what you're trying to actually do with the product. So this is one of their newer AI features that they have implemented. They have another one as well for specifically campaigns and product where you can go over to your campaign. You can go to, I believe, creative tools, image generator, which doesn't seem to be working right now. But they have an image generator for AI imagery. I'm iffy on it. They also just released the ability to create AI images for sponsored display again, which is really, really cool. I like that one quite a bit more than I do the image generator. The image generator doesn't work nearly as well as the sponsored display one. So yeah, Amazon has a ton of AI tools. I think it's just going to become more and more relevant, more and more prevalent. Not going away anytime soon. Great questions. Great questions. And let's see who's up next. Jacob again. How do you track click-through rate and conversion changes caused by listing optimization? Do you follow search query performance data, PPC data, or both combined? Follow both them combined. So your conversion via ads is always going to be a very good indicator as to how the product's actually doing. You should also just look and see, for instance, in your business reports, you can go there and see how you're actually doing from a click-through and conversion perspective. But definitely use pretty much all of them. The search query performance, not really too much when it comes to the actual click-through rate and conversion, just because those are going to be more keyword focused rather than anything you're actually doing to the product. But definitely use like Helium 10 keyword tracker to see how you're doing there on specific keywords. But your advertising data is usually your best leading indicator for a very specific keyword. So if you're targeting against that keyword and you have it in your product, you can start to track and see where your conversion and click-through rate for that keyword is, and it'll give you a very good essential leading indicator for relevancy against that keyword. Let's see here. Micah, are you guys seeing an uptick in crazy things happening to listing on Amazon lately? We have been seeing a number of strange issues. One specifically is around back-end keywords. Seems like they keep getting changed and swapped for strange things we would never put in there. When we try and update them, nothing happens. We also got opted into the automated A/B experiments, which is making crazy changes to our listing titles that violate Amazon's policy, and we never gave consent to be in this program. Are you familiar with it? Okay, so we're going to touch on a couple of different things here, Micah, just to kind of break this up, because you're talking about a few different things. And I kind of an exact knowledge of what you're talking about. So first and foremost, let's talk about the experiments. So Amazon has a few different ways of doing experiments on their product now. The most interesting of them is, and let me see if I can pull any up here. We don't have any A/B experiments right now, unfortunately. So the most interesting, I should say, is the fact that they will now auto-publish A/B tests that are essentially winning. So if you think an A/B test is winning, it'll auto-publish it for you. I'm not the biggest fan of that. I want to see all the data before I actually go ahead and move forward with any type of publishing, but you still have to create the A/B test for that. What this kind of sounds like to me, Micah, and this is what I would look at for you specifically. If you're having issues where your content on your listing is being changed, that usually is a leading sign to me that you have a hijacker issue more than anything. I'm not sure if other people are selling your product. I'm not sure if you have any competitors, or if you're fully brand registered, or if it's, patent pending, for instance. But what I would heavily suggest, if any of those are the case, is that you check and make sure that you have full ownership over the listing, because it's very rare to see Amazon just fully changing policy or fully changing a listing and any policy around it without, some leading indicator. Somebody has to be changing it for some reason, usually, unless it's just Amazon saying, hey, I don't want your brand title in there or brand name in there. If you're fully having things that are going to be against Amazon policy and taking the listing down, that to me sounds more like a hijacker issue where someone else is uploading a lot of data trying to get your listing taken down. And so I would definitely look into that, because that's a little bit of a bigger problem than what you're kind of thinking it might be and suggesting it might be. All right. Oh, we got a long one here. I have a client who has seasonal products. There are a total of 70 plus SKUs with at least 10 variants for each SKU, so 700 SKUs. Spread across different categories, I run PPC campaigns for them. I've noticed that when I run campaigns for the same category, due to my own bidding strategy, the competition on keywords increases and bids become more aggressive. Can you suggest a smart strategy so my clients' products remain at the top of search results without being overly aggressive in bidding? Let's see, because I have more of my own products competing with competitors on the same keywords. Unfortunately, no. It is the unfortunate truth of Amazon advertising, in that, yes, you can cause your own bids to go higher. That's just the case that it is. If you go up on one key, or if you go up on a keyword in one ad, let's say you put it at $1, but the other ad drops off and now that ad is $1.50. Guess what? You're just going to be raising to $1.50 because Amazon wants to have the highest cost for the bid. So there's not really a good way around this. The only way that I would suggest would be potentially trying to split it up or add the products into there, so that you essentially are having the same exact ad targeting the same products. If you have products in the same category and you're targeting same keywords or targeting, category specific for those products, I would question why the ads aren't set up for the products to all be in the same ad group anyways. That would be kind of where I first lean anyways, just so we're clear. But overall, no, there's not really a way around this, just from the aspect of Amazon is going to always go with the higher bid. And if you have, for instance, the same keyword bid in the same place, but higher on another ad, it's just going to go with the higher one. Great question, though. I like that one. It's interesting. It's hard to deal with, but hopefully you figure out a solution. Again, I would probably just add the products into the same advertisement there. Matthew, can you include quoting genuine customer reviews on your A plus content or shop front, or is this against Amazon TOS? For example, this Facebook review we received from Facebook. Let's see. Saved my ass at. Okay, so technically, yes and no. One, I probably would not put their review up just because ass is going to get you taken down. So that's number one there. Let's start there. But number two, there you can put customer reviews in, but in a very, very, very specific way. And what I mean by that is, for instance, if someone records a video of your product, not directly saying, hey, you should buy this product, but just let's say it's a review of the product unboxing, you can add that into your listing. That's totally fine. If somebody has a picture that they upload of the product, you can add that. What you can't add is kind of specifically what you're saying. So, for instance, anything where it's promoting the product and it's a review from that, I really wouldn't do the one that you want to, just because, again, has ass in it, and you probably should not add that into your listing because that is going to break TOS there. So there's specific ways around doing any form of customer review. The best way to always do them is, one, make sure it's never someone actually promoting the purchase of the product. And then two, make sure it's either just a picture or video form from the consumer. So those are going to be the best ways to do it. Let's see. Can PPC improve organic sales? Yeah, it can. So it can and it can't. So technically speaking, PPC, the purpose of it is to drive sales growth. When you drive sales growth, you do so by targeting keywords typically. So we're going to break it down to just keywords for this example. But so you're going to target a keyword. Let's say you're selling a balloon. You're going to target the keyword balloon. So the purpose there is that someone is going to then see your product at the top of the page as sponsored, click on it, and then purchase your product, which is a balloon. And now you are both indexed and ranking for the keyword of balloon. What does this do for you? This means that when someone searches for balloon again and is looking through, and let's say they skip your advertisement entirely this time, you have a chance to show up organically against that keyword. So the point of PPC advertising is to target specific keywords that you are trying to show up higher organically on, and that's going to better assist you in overall sales growth. So just make sure your keywords are relevant when you're going and targeting them, but absolutely PPC can help you when it comes to organic growth. John, Amazon has denied my invoice for ungained brand. We meet all the requirements. What can we do? Not much. Unfortunately, not much. So when it comes to ungained brands, it's one of those areas where Amazon's just going to choose who and when they allow. So unless you have, for instance, a specific invoice directly from the brand who you are trying to ungate, as well as, for instance, a letter saying that you have the allowance to sell that brand, it's not a ton you can do. I have seen a million times where, for instance, like Nike, somebody is trying to sell Nikes and they realize, oh, that's a gated brand on Amazon. I can't just immediately sell that. Oh, well, I have this invoice from this wholesaler who bought 4,000 pairs of Nikes that I bought from them, and I'm going to submit that because it now shows that, hey, I purchased these. That wholesaler, for all you know, doesn't have the right to give you access to sell on Amazon on the Nike brand. So unfortunately, unless it's directly from the brand and unless you have a letter of authorization from that brand, there's not a ton you can do. And even then, if they still deny you, there's not a ton of recourse you can do outside of asking the brand to reach out to Amazon directly. So fortunately, John, not a ton here. Let's see. Let's take another little coffee break here. Viper. I have a few products that can be promoted for Mother's Day. How can I market for that? Can I do virtual bundles to help with sales? For instance, a coffee mug with sweater. So we have a couple of questions here. Start with the how can you market it? So advertising, you can market against Mother's Day keywords. So for mothers, Mother's Day, great gifts for moms, mom gifts, all keywords surrounding Mother's Day. Start going against them. You're going to be paying out the nose in advertising, but you can do it. And you can get even more niche in this if you want to do like a phrase campaign, for instance, and you, let's say, are selling a box, like a trinket box. You can do trinket box for moms or box for moms. You get where I'm going with this, of essentially target just mothers, anything like that for this time for any type of advertising against Mother's Day. Secondly, with that as well, I would highly advise doing something like a Prime exclusive discount if you're FBA during the week of Mother's Day. So I believe that's next week, and Mother's Day is the following Sunday there. So absolutely throw on a 10-15% Prime exclusive discount, and that'll just help you with your sales conversion during that time period. Virtual bundles help with sales. Absolutely. If you're not doing virtual bundles, try it. They're great. I love them. There's no real purpose in not doing a virtual bundle. It doesn't cost you anything extra. It isn't going to, negatively impact your account whatsoever. And it's super easy for you to set up and do. The only thing you have to actually do is obviously create the listing. But virtual bundles, great. I love them. Just Jay. Any tips for adding a product to EU Marketplace that is live in the US? Some ASINs are showing as not in the Amazon catalog when I try to add one at a time, or even bulk in EU. Items live or live in US. So I would, one, make sure that you go to Amazon, and then I believe under, is it inventory? It might be, yeah. So under inventory, you can go to, I'll share my screen here real quick while I answer this. Under inventory, you can go to sell globally. So inventory, sell globally on your US marketplace. And then just make sure you set up the Europe marketplace. So you'll have to register for it here. And then you'll be able to see over here when you import those listings over to Europe. So that'll be first tip there, to be able to assist with setting up those listings. And then secondly, past that, just make sure you're doing everything via flat file when you're doing any edits there in the EU marketplace. Make sure that everything is pristine with your ASINs and there's no issues there. But absolutely, if you haven't gone through the process of doing sell globally from US, definitely do that, because you need to create those listings and create those ASINs in the Europe marketplace. They're not just going to automatically be there. And make sure you know what the ASINs are, just because a lot of times you'll have a new ASIN in the Europe marketplace compared to the US marketplace. Micah, no auto publish. They create the A/B test for you. Oh, so you're doing the automated A/B tests where they test out with their new AI algorithm. Okay. This new program that Amazon creates tests for you. Yep. And you have nothing to do with it. We have full brand registry. We are the brand manufacturer, no resellers, no hijacking Amazon's. Yeah. So Micah, and you continue, is called the Explore Brand Selection Beta. Yep. Now we are automatically opted into it and started changing our listings, and their AI put things in that violate policies like spring sale. Yep. Okay. Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about now, Micah. So first and foremost, you can unenroll in that from your Manage Experiments page. So for the A/B test side of things, you can unenroll in that from the experiment page. So go to your experiment page, and there should be an option up in that top bar for the automated testing. If not, you may have to go through the process of create new experiment, and then there should be a little box there that allows Amazon to do that. So that's first and foremost. And then as well, I think you have to go to your listing settings and opt out of it from there as well. Again, a little checkbox that will allow you to do so. If they continue doing it, submit a case to Amazon just saying, I would like to be unenrolled in this program, and go from there. I know as well, they have their new AI listing generation program under the custom programs, I believe. Check there as well, just to make sure you're not enrolled in any of their new AI programs or any of their new rollouts. You can also opt out from being auto-enrolled in any of these just by asking them to opt you out. So that's where I would probably go with this, Micah. Sucks. There is a reason I don't ever let Amazon make any changes, because absolutely the spring sale thing is a big issue. So the only areas I have ever seen it actually work is when, for instance, Amazon is creating those new virtual bundles of their own, and they just are suddenly allowed to do 10% off in the main image for those, which I find ridiculous. Jonathan, How come I can't add some of my active ASINs to my A plus content campaign? Probably because they're not attached to the brand. That's just the answer. So if you can't add an ASIN to A plus content, it means it's not attached to that brand that the A plus content is created under. Now you may say to yourself, no, it is attached to it. It can say that it is, but it is probably not actually. So this is a twofold issue: Seller Central and brand registry. You need to open up a case in Seller Central saying I can't do this, and then open up a case in brand registry, show a screenshot of the actual A plus not allowing those listings, show that the listings have your brand, your registered brand on it, and add those screenshots into the case, link back to the Seller Central case, and then brand registry should be able to help you link your items to your brand registry if they're not correctly linked. So that's the process. It's unfortunate. It happens sometimes, but it's not a huge deal. Should be solved in under a week or so. Let's see. Again, with the AI tools, how to ungate beauty and healthcare products and sell on Amazon. If you're trying to sell a gated brand, you have to, again, get a direct invoice from the brand owner for that, and sometimes a letter of authorization, or just somebody who is, registered to ungate that brand specifically. So usually a manufacturer, distributor, or something like that, who is registered for that brand. Unfortunately speaking, there's not like a secret trick to this. It's just getting those pieces of information. If you're just buying from a random flea market and it's a brand that's gated, which I think there's only 189 actively gated brands left on Amazon. So if you're going after one of those 189 brands, I would first and foremost just say, don't. There's no purpose in really going after a gated brand when there's tens of millions of different brands on Amazon right now. So that would be my first thing. But secondly, again, just if you really have to, you have to get an invoice from the brand owner, a letter of authorization from a distributor or the brand owner who is registered to allow you to sell that product. Okay. Sticks and bones. What's the best strategy to get sales at launch prior to launching PPC campaigns so that reviews and data are there to have more effective PPC campaign all during honeymoon phase? Ooh, okay. So this is a great question. So we have a recommended or a perfect launch strategy for pricing. And let me pull it up just so I can get you the actual listing here, or the actual page. So this is the page right here, Sticks and Bones. It's our Amazon FBA product launch pricing strategy. So this is absolutely the page that I would follow. Go to this page. I believe it is just FBA product launch pricing strategy. If you type that in and then My Amazon Guy, it'll pop up in Google. So we always recommend week one starting at 50% or 50% below the price that you are trying to get to. So if you want your list price to be $60, launch your product at $30. Over the course of the next 2 months, you are going to slowly and incrementally get that product all the way up to that $60 mark. What does this do? This gets you early customers in the door. You're usually going to be much lower priced than any of your competitors, so you're going to be looking better. Again, price is the number one converting factor on Amazon. Always will be the case. Price is the number one converting factor. From here as well, I would absolutely look through this. This is going to give you a really good overview of different ways in which you can do it. We have some more videos here when it comes to, like reviving our sales, which is part of Mag School. Launch price strategy. Steven goes really in depth on this, and essentially everything you need to know when it comes to actually launching a product. So absolutely follow this from that standpoint. And then when it comes to the advertising side, it sounds like you already got that covered. And then you ask, what's the difference between relaunching a product versus relisting them? Relaunching a product, and we have an entire Mag School course on this it's called Reviving a Dead Product. I showed it there. But relaunching a product is essentially trying to do just a brand new product or brand new launch of that exact same product. Usually involves getting another ASIN, merging those ASINs together after or post launch, and keeping the BSR that you've gotten to. So It's a little different because relisting them and just creating a brand new listing. So like we were talking about earlier with the other person's question, creating a version 2 of a product that has slight differences. So it's a brand new product technically, but not a relaunch of the same product. Let's see. In the previous scenario, I created a brand defense campaign targeting my own products. However, I targeted the category and refined my own brand. I observed an increase in sales. But some of my campaigns that were keyword targeted experienced a decrease in sales. Could this be due to the brand defense campaigns? More than likely, it depends on what your actual keywords were and where you were targeting. So, brand defense campaigns should largely just be self. So, you're talking about self targeting, I'm assuming. So, they largely should just be self targeting. So, your specific keywords. So, let's say your brand name is Noah's Candles, I guess. I don't know. So, Noah's Candles is your brand name. You should be targeting that as a keyword for a self-campaign or self-targeting campaign. You should also have a self-targeting campaign that is just your products. So you're targeting your product pages. So things like that. So that's how self-targeting works. If you have another campaign that, for instance, is going against that, but it sounds more like you were doing a category. Targeting my own products, however, I targeted the category and refined my brand. Yeah, category targeting is going to be a little different there. Nasser, what I would kind of recommend you do here is, again, the exact what I was talking about when it comes to self-targeting. I wouldn't target your category for self-targeting just because you're at that point essentially just trying to get a top of search for whatever your category is rather than actually self-targeting yourself. Harris, can I send my existing extra inventory already in FBA to AWD? So is affecting my inventory performance, and is this AWD service also available in the UK? AWD, from my knowledge, is only available in the US. So unfortunately, no, you can't. For your first question, however, I believe you can. I think you can add, and let me double check this right now, but I believe you can add current inventory there. All you have to do is still remove that inventory. So you're going to be charged. Let me check here real quick, though, to verify that. I could be wrong. Ooh, yeah, I think I'm wrong here. So you're to be able to do this, Harris, you would have to or pull back the inventory. So you would have to create that shipment back to yourself first and foremost, get the product out of FBA, and then you're going to have to send that product into AWD. You can do AWD to FBA, but unfortunately, it doesn't seem like you can do FBA to AWD. Let's see here. And then you ask, what is a virtual bundle? Super great question. So if we go, and I'll share my screen again real quick to here. So virtual bundle. So if we go to, let's see, brands. There it is. So you can come to, brands and virtual bundles. And from virtual bundles, what you can do is just create anyone. So if we want to add a few products, let's say we want to do this mug. So add this one. Now add this one. Done adding products. So from this standpoint, now we would be able to create a bundle title, short title, description, bullets, everything, add in our images, and we have these two products put together into one bundle. Essentially, the way this works is you have two separate products in FBA, and then once you want to create a virtual bundle, you can just come here, create it, and it essentially creates exactly that. So hope that helps. Let's see. Thanks, Just Jay. Can I add UPC to a listing after it was created without one? Technically, yeah. It's a little bit of an annoying process because you're technically switching the UPC to a GS1 and what is considered to be the overall product, right? So it can be a little bit of an annoying process, but yeah, you absolutely can. Let's see. How do you check cost per click on keywords before advertising? That's fairly simple. All you would have to do, and let me open up campaign manager and I'll show you real quick. But all you have to do is if you're going to create a campaign, let's do this. So if you were to create, let's say, a sponsored product campaign, let's just say I'm going to do, I don't know, this product. I'm going to do manual targeting, keyword targeting. So you can check right here. So you can see exactly, what the suggested bid is. So the suggested bid for any of these, so let's say I'm doing an exact campaign, so I'm just going to add this in. It's 68 cents to $1.13. So a suggested bid is typically speaking going to be about the middle ground of where bidding is on the products. So what I would say is if you're trying to check what the actual cost per click would be, just look at that. So that's just how you're going to look at it. Hope that helps. Is there any organic ranking benefits from a product targeting if the customer comes from another product, not from keyword? Yeah, technically. So they're still, that keyword is still, whatever they search, whatever they're doing is still technically tracking them. So if there is a relevancy there, so if that product, great way to put this. Let's say that you sell a balloon pump. Someone is searching balloons, clicks on a balloon listing, but then you are targeting that listing and they click on your balloon pump. Guess what? The word balloons, after they purchase your product, is now a relevant keyword to your balloon pump. So it's one of the things where relevancy is the largest factor with keywords on Amazon. What makes something relevant? Does it sell when someone searches for that keyword? So if you sell a balloon pump, when someone searches the keyword balloon, clicks on someone else, and then clicks on you, that means your keyword is absolutely relevant for balloon or the keyword of balloons. Steven, how do you fix hidden search suppression? And then you have second one. Does no addressing product clients? Okay, so different things. So hidden search suppression. So a few different ways, Steven. You have to figure out why your product is hidden search suppressed. 9 times out of 10, this is just due to keywords. But what I would always try first and foremost is a delete and relist. That's going to be usually the easiest way to do it. But if it's hidden search suppression from something like bad reviews, you're having a harder time there. The reason for that is just because you have to essentially, the way to fix that, you have to get better reviews, right? So hidden search suppressions, always try to delete and relist of the product first and foremost. Try and see if the hidden search suppression is for a specific reason. So keywords on your listing is a reason. Looking for instance, the bad reviews, that's another one. Customer reviews, that's another one. I see it for like too many bad or negative customer interactions. That's another one. So all of those can be reasons for hidden search suppression, but your first step is always going to be doing a delete and relist, see if that solves the problem. Then you have a secondary question. Does no addressing product compliance violations add up to deactivation? Products are still listed. So it depends on which one it is. So when you go to your product compliance, and I'm not sure if we have any here, so I'll check our account health real quick. But when you go to your product compliance, you should have a few. Yep, here we go. Share this tab. You'll see here under product policy compliance, we have 2 different things here from 2023 and 2024. You'll see this account health rating impact, and it says no impact. If it says no impact there, it genuinely, yes, does mean you have no impact. You can have as many of these as you want if it has no impact. I will say if you have like 10,000 of them, it's probably going to make a few other areas more tricky. So if you ever have an actual deactivation for some reason or another, then absolutely that can probably have some form of negative impact. But largely, it's not going to have any actual account health impact, and it's not going to get you deactivated for this. The only time it would get you deactivated is if, again, this says impact to the account or potential impact. Sticks and bones again. If I follow the weeks with your pricing strategy, then at what point do I start my PPC campaign if the most effective time is during honeymoon stage of a month? Start it right away. So pricing strategy plus the PPC campaign. I'm not saying you should do one or the other. I'm saying that the pricing strategy you should absolutely do, but you also should absolutely do the advertising on PPC. The reason for this is, again, that's just going to help bolster you. And the point of the pricing strategy is to help with conversion in those very early times. If you're half the price of all of your competitors, people are going to buy your product. That's just how Amazon works. So absolutely, yes, do the pricing strategy, but start your PPC strategy and campaigns right away as well. Jacob, what is the ranking effect of sponsored brand video exact match compared to sponsored products? I don't really understand what you mean by ranking effect. I assume you mean just with the product itself. And that, again, just comes down to relevancy, sales. So are you with that exact match, so you're going against an exact criteria, is your product relevant? So it's the exact same. It's not like you have a boosted effect with any of them. So obviously, sponsored products is always going to be the easiest one to get clicks on. It's always just going to be that way. Unfortunately, roughly, I would say 80 to 90% of all product campaigns are going to be sponsored products, just because that's what people always do, and they're usually the most effective and easiest to run. But you're not getting an extra boost in ranking or something if someone clicks on like a brand video versus a sponsored product of any kind. It's just different targeting in different areas. Sticks and Bones. Can I ask supplier to ship a small portion of bulk order to test out the new product to get sales and reviews during honeymoon stage? Then create a variation by ordering the remaining units from order. So kind of sounds like what you're saying is you want them to send you a small amount of it, throw that into FBA, test out how the product actually does in market, but then you want to relaunch the product like once you're out of stock of it and go from there. I mean, you could try, but the reality is I wouldn't. I would probably, unless it's like a direct variation, an actual variation of the product. If it's going to be an actual variation, then yeah, absolutely go for it. But it's not going to be a one-to-one correlation because it is a variation of some kind. So if you're selling the small unit test batch of a black color, if you do a variation that you do the full amount in and it's white, you're not going to get an exact match there as far as what people want. Black is always going to normally get chosen over white for a lot of products, and so on and so forth. So the point being there is that you can, as long as it's an actual variation. I wouldn't if it's not. I would just go with a normal launch strategy. And then again, Sticks and Bones, and generate another round of sales and reviews, then merge ASINs, make it a child, then combine reviews. Yeah, so exactly that, Sticks and Bones. If that's what you're going for, then yeah, you can. But again, I would still probably just kind of go with simple launch strategy, make sure it's actual variations, go from there. Viper, thanks for answering all these questions. How do we promote our products for Prime Day? I love this question. So you have a lot of different options on how do you promote your products for Prime Day. You can do lightning deals. They cost you money if you don't know. So lightning deals are usually going to be very, very high deal items. So essentially you're doing like, let's say 50% off an item, right? 30% off, and you're doing it for a very short period of time. And you get promoted on Amazon's front page and on the Prime deals or Prime Day deals page. Awesome. You have to pay for that. They cost money, usually $300 or so. So it's, up in the air on whether or not you do them. I'm a mixed feeling guy when it comes to lightning deals. I see the value in them. I also see them as sometimes not being the best. You have another way. You can just do a regular old coupon. So you can do it for the entire week of Prime Day. I know it's called Prime Day. We all know that it's pretty much a week at this point, but you can do it for the entire week. My personal favorite for Prime Day / week is doing Prime exclusive discounts. So Prime exclusive discounts are discounts that are only for Prime customers. That's going to usually be your best ticket just because, again, it's Prime Day. It's meant for Prime consumers, and that's going to be the best way to go for it. I would also highly advise that post Prime Day, you look at brand tailored promotions. Brand tailored promotions post Prime Day are just super juicy. You can usually run the same exact discount that you did during Prime Day, and you'll be really, really well off with it. And those are usually the best time of year for brand tailored promotions, like brand cart and abandoners. Absolutely. People get kind of FOMO because they're like, oh, it's not, the price that I wanted it at anymore. I should have bought it when I could have. Guess what? Now you can. So that's usually kind of the best strategy there. And also start all of your advertisements, anything like that for your product. If you're going to go really heavy there, start that at least 1 week prior. We don't know the exact day yet. We just know that all inventory has to be there by June 20th, I believe, this year. So that probably means second week of July, I would imagine. Let's see here. Will those compliance warnings eventually drop off? Yeah, they will. They will. And especially if you ever are not doing anything with the listing anymore, if you just get rid of the listing, then yeah, they just drop off. Let's see here, guys. We got about 15 minutes left here. some of my products are out of stock because I don't want to sell them anymore. Would Amazon hit me with a low stock fee? Would closing my listing be a solution for it? So, no. So if you're low stock fee is if you are low stock. If you're out of stock, that's completely different. So Amazon's not going to like continuously hit you with a out of stock fee because you're out of stock. They'll only hit you if you have a low inventory. So it's a low inventory fee, not an out of stock fee. Hope that kind of clarifies that. You can close the listing. Absolutely. If you're not going to sell the listing anymore, just close it. No big deal. Jacob, I forgot my cost per click question was referring to a advertised product which you did not create yet. You're in the product playing phase and want to know potential cost per click for advertising this future ASIN. Same exact principle here, Jacob. Same thing. Just go to create a. You can do this for literally anything. I mean, you could, if you have a product on your Seller Central, you can do that. You can also find cost per click just by going to Helium and checking it there. But easiest thing here would just be put any product in and then search for the keyword. Just act like you're going to create. You don't have to add a product there. I was just adding one just because I wanted to right there to show you. But yeah, no, you don't. You can just look in the Amazon advertising console and just search for the keywords. All right, let's see. Nasser with another one. I've targeted relevant keywords that were performing well. However, when I created a category targeting campaign, the search term report showed my product's ASINs from which I received sales. Okay. My question now is, if I adjust the bids for keywords, will affect the brand defense campaign? It's possible that those who click on keywords targeted in the campaign end up buying my other product. Yeah, it is. If you adjust the keywords, I mean, absolutely. If you adjust the bids and adjust the keywords, absolutely, you're going to run into that. But I mean, it's the exact same way that the campaign already runs. So the point of the campaign, again, is to make it so that they purchase one of your products versus purchasing a competitor. Whether or not it's the product you initially intended for them to purchase, that can be up in the air sometimes. Usually it is, but it can be up in the air. But absolutely, yeah, if you're going to have that, I mean, it's going to be, if someone clicks on your product on the top of search, then clicks on your product page, and then clicks on your product page again, guess what? You get charged for each one of those. And unfortunately, you know, it could be a completely separate product from what you initially wanted them to purchase. But as long as it's a product under your brand, that's really what matters. All right. Couple of questions left here, guys. Throw any more in. Again, we got about 10 minutes or so here, so throw more in if you have them. If I have a product with two variations and one went out of stock, does that affect the BSR? Is the BSR calculated per product or per parent? Technically, it's calculated per ASIN. So BSR is on a per ASIN level, but the parent has its own technical BSR. So the reality here is that, yes, you could be losing BSR on the ASIN that is out of stock because you're not selling it. Thankfully, a parentage usually protects that a little bit better than if the product was on its own. So I wouldn't worry as much as long as the variation that's not out of stock is still selling. That's going to be kind of the key there, but you're still going to lose some of your ranking there on that variation. All right. I'm planning to enter the jewelry category. Any ideas? What's the average returns for this category and what to avoid? I'm not super versed in it, to be honest with you. Average returns, I mean, that depends. What are you getting your product for? How much are you getting your product for? How much are you selling it for? What's your average cost per click, right? This is a little too broad, unfortunately, Awad. I wish I could answer it for you, but again, it's really product dependent. You can have a product that's $1,000 or you can have a product that's $5 in the jewelry category. Depends on what kind of jewelry you're selling, you know, and on top of that, it could be a product that's selling for $1,000 but costs you $5 to, make. Fortunately, a little too broad to answer. All right, guys. It looks like that is about everything today. So I think we'll wrap a little bit earlier than intended. But overall, great show today. Again, before we kind of head out here, I'll just share my screen here real quick. We are My Amazon Guy. We are a full service Amazon PPC agency. So we do everything in between for Amazon: graphic design, PPC, SEO, listing optimization, anything and everything you can possibly think about. You can also come to us and do one-off services with us. So we have an entire list of one-off services for advertising design, trademark registration. We even do refunds from Amazon if you're trying to get that back. We also have a full list of our SOP. If you want to purchase our SOP library, you can do so. Come to our website. Just go to myamazonguy.com/Amazon SOP library. On top of that, we have courses. If you want to learn anything, even Facebook ads, we have a course for it. But we have tons and tons and tons of courses. Absolutely check this out for more information. If you want a job, guess what? We have those as well. So come to our page, look at our different careers that we have. Even if you don't know anything, we do paid internships here at My Amazon Guy. So if you don't know anything, you're just starting to learn, guess what? You can come in, you can get paid, and we will teach you everything we know in the process. So absolutely come apply for a job. If you are looking for one-on-one coaching, you have an issue today, for instance, that you think that would be much better to show in person, guess what? We have that as well. And you also have it with myself. So feel free to book a coaching call with one of us. We are more than happy to help. On top of that, we are offering some new services here as of lately. We are offering things such as Shopify website SEO optimization. So check that out. More than happy to do that kind of stuff. Just send us a message and we can get around to it. So thank you again, everybody, for joining. I am going to be here every single Friday, 12 Eastern, to answer any and all of your questions. My name is Noah Wickham. I'm brand director, and I hope you all have a fantastic week and weekend ahead.